My whole life, death has been silent until he took the woman I loved. I've known who was going to die since I was 6 years old. It's not a number or a premonition. It's a man, or something that looks like one. He's always there, in the periphery. He wears a simple gray suit, the kind of thing you'd see in a dusty photograph from a time no one remembers. It never looks new, but it's never dirty. The real thing, the part that digs under my skin, is his face. You can never quite focus on it. It's like looking at something through a summer heat haze, shimmering and indistinct. And there's the sound. A low, almost subsonic hum that starts in the back of my skull whenever he's near. The first time was my great-grandfather. Abuelo was a mountain of a man even in his 90s, all leathery skin and a booming laugh. He was sitting in his favorite armchair, telling me a story about a mischievous goat, and I saw the gray man standing behind him, one hand resting on the back of the chair. I asked my father later who Abuelo's quiet friend was. Dad just knelt, his face a mask of confusion. Zev, there was no one else in the room. You must have been dreaming. 2 days later, Abuelo died in his sleep in that same armchair. You'd think you'd get used to it. You don't. You just get better at pretending. I saw him trailing a perfectly healthy-looking woman in the grocery store. I saw him sitting patiently in the passenger seat of a teenager's souped-up Honda. The hum would start, my blood would turn to ice, and I would force myself to look away. My own grandfather was next. I was 12. He was the one who gave me a small, worn silver medallion of St. Michael. "To keep you safe, Mijo," he'd said. When the cancer finally took him, he was just a skeleton in a bed. The gray man stood at his bedside, not solemn, just waiting. As my grandfather took his last, rattling breath, I saw it. A flicker. A small, warm mote of light lifted from his chest, and the gray man simply held out a hand. The light settled into his palm, and he closed his fingers around it. Then he was gone. That's when I got God. Or tried to. I threw myself into the church, desperate for an answer. My parents, worried sick, dragged me from priest to pastor to faith healer. They prayed over me, splashed me with holy water, shouted prayers in languages I didn't understand. Nothing worked. The gray man was still there, a constant, silent promise. In high school, I found a different kind of sanctuary, the theater. Backstage, under the hot lights, I could almost forget the hum. I could be someone else. That's where I met Annalise. She wasn't just pretty, she was alive in a way that felt like a rebellion against everything the gray man represented. She had this riot of auburn hair and a laugh that could make the dust motes dance in the stage lights. People said we looked enough alike to be siblings, which made it hilarious when we were cast as dance partners in a stupid musical. I wasn't in love with her, not then, but when she was near, the world felt solid under my feet. The hum quieted. I'd also met a kind, old Episcopal priest, Father Alcuin. He didn't try to exorcise me, he just listened, his face thoughtful. "Perhaps it is not a curse, Zev," he told me. "Perhaps it is a calling, a chance to offer peace to those who are about to travel." I clung to that idea like a drowning man to a raft. We were all celebrating our friend Kian's birthday in the parking lot behind the theater. It was one of those perfect autumn afternoons. Annalise had us playing some ridiculous, convoluted murder mystery game she'd invented. Our friend Maura's grandfather, a sweet old guy with flour on his apron, brought us all pizza. And as he walked out of the back door, the gray man was right behind him. The hum started, a drill bit in my ear. I tried to ignore it. I turned and saw Annalise, spinning in a patch of sunlight, her hair catching fire. She looked like something ancient, something not meant for a cracked asphalt parking lot. She was laughing, this pure, beautiful sound. For a second, I forgot everything. She saw me staring and ran over. "Stop judging my impeccable dance moves, I'm not." I stammered, my face hot. I wanted to tell her she looked like a painting, like a miracle. I couldn't get the words out, like a miracle. I couldn't get the words out. Then I looked past her. Mara's grandfather was heading back inside, the gray man in his shadow. A cold panic seized me. I lurched forward, grabbed Mara's arm. She flinched. "Go to him," I said, my voice too loud, too harsh. "Go hug your grandfather, right now." She just stared at me, confused. Her hair whipped across her face in the breeze. But she did it. She shrugged and ran inside. The next day, my phone buzzed. A text from Mara. "Thanks for what you said yesterday, Zev." He had a heart attack this morning. That was the last time I saw him. I need to be alone for a while. I never explained it to her. I think she knows, somehow. Years passed. I lost touch with Annalise. We all drifted apart the way you do, and I did what Father Alcuin suggested. I joined the seminary. I became a priest. Being an Episcopalian priest meant I could offer comfort, administer last rites, and still hope for a life of my own someday. The gift, the curse, it became a tool. I knew who needed comfort most. Other clergy said I had a fire, a passion for the dying they'd never seen. They didn't know I was just talking to the people the gray man was watching. I was 30 when I saw her again. Father Isaac and I were doing our rounds at St. Jude's, the scent of antiseptic and floor wax thick in the air. We were walking down a long, quiet corridor, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. And then I saw her, shuffling toward me in a pale blue hospital gown, gripping an IV pole. Her hair was thinner, the fire banked to embers, but those eyes were the same. "Zev?" Her voice was a whisper. I stopped dead. Annalise. We shook hands, a stupid, formal gesture. Her hand was fragile, a bundle of cold twigs in mine. "You're a priest," she said, a small smile playing on her lips. "God, that's perfect. Since when are you on speaking terms with God?" I joked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Since the diagnosis," she said, her smile fading. "That and a few knockdown, drag-out fights with my mom about the state of my soul." I turned to Father Isaac. "Can you handle the rest of the floor?" He just nodded, his eyes kind, and continued on his way. I helped her back to her room. She told me the name of the disease, a long, ugly string of medical jargon that basically meant her body was eating itself from the inside out. She sat on the edge of the bed, her breath coming in shallow puffs. "They don't know if it's terminal," she said, grabbing my hand. Her grip was surprisingly strong. "I'll pray for you, Annalise." And as the words left my mouth, he appeared, the gray man, standing in the corner of the room by the window, his face an impossible blur. The hum filled my head, drowning out the beep of the machines. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something, to yell, "Get the fuck out!" Not her, but I was a priest. I was supposed to offer peace. I locked eyes with the thing in the corner. For the first time, I didn't look away. I just stared, pouring every ounce of defiance I had into that look. He seemed to consider me. Then he gave a slow, deliberate nod and stepped backward, fading through the wall. He left. He actually fucking left. Maybe for an hour, maybe a day. I had bought her time. I turned back to her, trying to arrange my face into a smile. The effort made my jaw ache. "Zev, are you okay?" she asked, her brow furrowed with concern. "I'm fine," I lied. "But you weren't telling me the truth, were you?" She let out a weak laugh. "You always could see right through me. A few days, maybe, an hour, if I'm unlucky. But I don't want to talk about that. Tell me about being a priest. Tell me everything." So we talked for what felt like years. About the theater, about Kian and Mara, about our stupid inside jokes. I anointed her with oil, the ancient rite feeling both profound and ridiculously inadequate. Then she fumbled for her phone on the bedside table and played a song. It was from the musical, the one where we danced together. She pushed herself up, unsteady. She held out a trembling hand. "So, Father Zev," she rasped, a spark of the old mischief in her eyes. "You know how to save a soul. But do you still know how to dance?" I stood and took her hand. My arm went around her waist. Her hand rested on my shoulder. We swayed, right there in the sterile white room, a clumsy, heartbreaking dance between the IV pole and the bed. It was just like before, only now I could feel every bone in her back. "I wish we'd stayed in touch," she whispered, her head resting against my chest. "Me too," I choked out. We danced until she was too tired to stand. I helped her back into bed. She held onto my hand like it was the only solid thing in the universe. I knelt beside her, praying, the words just a meaningless rumble in my chest. "I was never going to do that musical, you know," she said, her voice faint. "But something pushed me. I didn't believe in God then." Looking back, I think it was him. Her breath hitched. I'm supposed to be the one confessing, but is there anything you need to confess? The hum started again, louder this time. I didn't have to look. I knew he was back. I looked at her, at this beautiful fading light, and the truth finally broke free. I love you, Annalise. I think I have since the day I met you. A real smile bloomed on her face, the last one I would ever see. She closed her eyes. The heart monitor beside her bed screamed a single, unending note. The gray man was standing directly behind me. I let go of her hand and rose to my feet. I turned and stood between him and her bed, a useless, mortal shield. No, I said. It was all I could manage. He didn't look at me. He looked past me, at her. He reached out, and that tiny, warm light bloomed in her chest. It floated into his waiting hand. He held it for a moment, his blurred face seeming to look down at the fragile glow in his palm. Then he looked at me. For the first time, his face swam into perfect, terrible focus. It was an ordinary face, lined with a sorrow so ancient it was part of the bone. His mouth opened. His voice was the sound of stones grinding together at the bottom of the sea. She always loved you. Then he was gone. The hum stopped. The room was silent, except for the shriek of the machine. I still see him, of course. He's always there, in the corner of my eye. But now, when he comes for someone, I don't just see a quiet man in a gray suit. I see his face. And I remember the last gift Annalise ever gave me, the awful, unbearable, and beautiful truth.